This chart tracks the autonomous AI agent market. We're looking at a 46% annual growth rate, projecting a $52 billion valuation by 2030. But beneath those projections, the operational reality differs. 95% of enterprise AI deployments generate zero measurable financial return. The costs are rising, while risk controls remain thin. Gartner projects that organizations will abandon 40% of their agentic AI projects entirely by the end of 2027. Governments are attempting to intervene from opposite ends of the spectrum. The European Union has implemented a high-granularity legislative framework, while the United States is actively preempting state-level rules to prioritize speed. So far, neither approach has stabilized the market. This collapse stems from a structural vacuum. When technology evolves faster than the institutions meant to govern it, the resulting gap makes even the most powerful capabilities unreliable and unmanageable. Deploying autonomous capabilities without a corresponding governance infrastructure leads to 5 predictable failures. First is the autonomy illusion. Many vendors rely on agent washing, where language models simply generate text that looks like a status report. The agent claims a task is complete, but the underlying system never actually took action. Second, memory contamination. Agents rely on persistent memory to learn. If malicious data enters that context, the corruption stays there, skewing the agent's reasoning and logic across every future session. Third, credential exposure. Enterprises now face an 82-to-1 machine-to-human identity ratio. Most of these machines operate with broad permissions, but lack the identity security controls required to prevent a security catastrophe. Fourth, the verification vacuum. Current architectures often rely on agents to self-report their own success. Without an independent method to check that work, the market has no way to distinguish quality from failure. Fifth, the coordination crisis. When agents delegate tasks to other agents, errors cascade through the workflow because the system has no mechanism for one machine to evaluate the output of another. The agent economy cannot survive on raw computation alone. Without an immune system to verify these interactions, the market will continue to fail under its own unverified scale. The European Union's AI Act represents the world's most comprehensive, risk-calibrated legislative framework. The EU's Annex III categories treat AI as a finished, static product, but autonomous agents change parameters with every interaction, bypassing these fixed buckets. Furthermore, inserting a mandatory human bottleneck into a system executing thousands of actions per second creates a compliance impossibility. Then there is the many hands problem. When an agent spins up sub-agents across a global value chain, legal responsibility becomes untraceable, leaving harmed individuals with no clear path to accountability. High-granularity legislation provides little protection if the enforcement mechanism moves significantly slower than the technology it aims to control. The United States has pursued an innovation-first posture, relying on executive orders that prioritize deregulation and global leadership. In December 2025, the administration established a federal litigation task force within the Department of Justice, specifically to challenge and strike down state-level AI regulations. This federal vacuum triggered a massive state-level response, with all 50 states introducing their own uncoordinated AI legislation. California enacted the AI Safety Act and mandatory training data transparency rules. Colorado implemented its own law targeting algorithmic discrimination. Texas established the Responsible AI Governance Act, and New York passed strict regulations for automated hiring and decision-making systems. This creates a two-track compliance reality. Enterprises face a fragmented matrix of laws that multiply their transaction costs without providing a unified standard for agent behavior. Plotting these approaches on a matrix shows the gap in the current market. The EU operates with high granularity but low speed. The US operates with high speed but low granularity. The quadrant we need, high speed and high granularity, is empty. Public law, by its nature, struggles to provide the localized, transaction-level enforcement these agents require. To bridge this gap, we need a governance layer mapping high-level legal requirements directly onto the code of every transaction. This connective tissue comes from a hybrid architecture using weighted directed acyclic graphs, or WDAGs. This system layers decentralized verification over the existing legal framework. The WAGAC maps the EU's safety requirements onto the agent's specific tool integrations. It updates the agent's risk profile every time it acquires a new capability, providing the real-time monitoring that static legislation cannot. To solve the U.S. accountability crisis, the network uses non-transferable reputation tokens. These create a permanent, unfakeable ledger of an agent's actual behavior, making forensic reconstruction possible after a failure occurs. Verification comes from validation pools, where domain experts and other agents stake their own reputation to audit a task's execution. This replaces trust-based self-reporting with incentive-compatible verification. This architecture converts broad legal principles into operationally enforceable code, creating a real-time immune response for the agent economy. We have a 2 to 3 year window before platform monopolies extract the value and solidify the global AI agent infrastructure into a rigid proprietary system. The operational precedents for this hybrid governance already exist and have been tested successfully within the DAO ecosystem. Realizing the potential of this $52 billion economy requires building an open, participatory infrastructure that can govern at the speed of the machine itself.